Jessica here from Stitching Colours, welcome back. I did briefly have a cat in the background, but she's obviously gone elsewhere. Today I'm here to do my whip update for the last 2 weeks, and that is Flosstube number 21. Today is the 14th of May 2023, and it feels like the year is really flying by. I haven't had as much stitching done over the last 2 weeks, but it's kind of expected with the way work's going and the way there was the retreat here last weekend. So I did 13,640 stitches over the last 2 weeks, over 6 pieces. I was meant to be updating yesterday and videoing, etc., but I was partway through the M on the Mythical Creatures alphabet, and I really wanted to get that finished before videoing because they look quite weird when they're partway through completion. So I guess I will show you what my pieces, and then I will go into some things from last weekend. So the first piece I have to show you is Searching for God. This is a Gecko Rouge piece stitched on 25 count 1/1, and the artwork or the design is based on the artwork by Jonas Joe Dyke. You should be seeing where it was last time and what it's going to look like at the end, but I did 1,005 stitches on this piece, and this was right before the end of April, so before my challenge set into place. So a little bit more progress here. You're definitely seeing a little bit more greenery and things like that over there, and I got to start on the second page, which is awesome, and I'm really happy with how this one's coming along. So the other piece was here all along, I just did not see the bag. Okay, so this is the piece I worked on the last day of April, which is Celtic Summer by Lavender and Lace, and this got 1,430 stitches on it. You should be seeing where you saw it last time, and it is on 28 count linen by hand dyed by Chromatic Alchemy, and that is called Jolie or Jolie, however you kind of want to pronounce it. So here we go. This is where I got to on it. So this is probably a little bit better lighting. I worked on some beading, and I did some more on her dress and was working my way down on it. I'm really happy with how summer's coming along, and I'm tracking really well to have a finish on this one by the end of the year, which is what I planned for with this one, so it's really good. I'm not far away from starting Celtic Winter, which will probably be next month, I think. Not quite sure of the date is yet, but it'll be next month. This piece. The next one I have to show you is a Tilton Crafts piece. So this is the Planets Align number 7, and at least I think it's number 7. Here's the thing. Okay, number. Okay, so the next piece I have to show you today is Planets Align number 7, which is Tilton Craft piece under the Common Creative License, and this got 1261 stitches on it. So this is on 25 count, stitch 1/1, and you should be seeing where it was last time you've seen it. And there hasn't been that much progress on this one because I guess I've just been putting more time into a couple of other pieces that you haven't seen yet. So here we go, is where we're up to now. And this is 25 count 1/1, and you can see it is mainly in here that I've been working. So I'm really close to having the moon on this row finished and then just being on the background, which should go pretty quickly. So that will be really cool. And so this one got 1261 stitches. I don't seem to be as organized as normal. Just the way it is, I guess. Okay, the next piece I have is my very first chart that I created myself. It's a pity I didn't actually center the piece when I stitched it, but you know, I stitched this one on 25 count 1/1, and I'm really happy with the piece. So this is finished, and this one got 2,528 stitches on it. So this one was kind of made in honor of the Dunedin Stitching Retreat last weekend, and so the Dunedin text is actually the sign as you come into Dunedin in that font, and you'll see it on vehicles in all sorts of places as all over Dunedin. Anytime you tend to see Dunedin, especially by local council and things like that, you'll see it written in this font, which is the old Gothic font. I guess it's part of the heritage because Dunedin has got a lot of Scottish heritage, and a lot of the old buildings you'll see have got all that kind of architecture to them. So it was really fun making a chart and then actually stitching it. So I'm hoping to create a few more different ones and things like that, but I'm really happy with how this came out. The next piece I have is the Mythical Creatures Stitch Along charted by Pain Free Crafts, based on the artwork by Stanley Morris, I think. I'm running a complete blank here. Yes, Stanley Morrison. So this was the 2020 stitch along, and I'm stitching this on 28 count over 2, and you should be seeing where it was at last time. And I have gotten quite a few stitches done on this, so I've gotten 6,409 stitches done on it over the last couple of weeks, and you should be seeing where you saw it last time, but I'm gonna split it up and fold it in half just because it's a little bit easier with where I'm at now. So I have now finished the M for the mermaid. So I'll just go a little bit closer. You can see, hang on, I'm just trying to make sure it's in camera. Okay, we've got the A for Anubis, B for the Basilisk, C for the Cerberus. Then we've got the D for Dragon, E for Enfield, F for Fawn, G for Griffin, and then the H for Hippocampus, I for Imp, J for Jackalope, K for Kraken, L for Leviathan, and the M for Mermaid. And let me tell you, that mermaid had a lot of backstitching. I think it was probably more than the other bigger backstitching pieces. And now at the bottom I have gotten all the way down with the green and the cream, and I've still got to fill in the yellow down the bottom, but I was kind of up here and probably about here with the yellow past in the green and everything. So that's all done there, and I kind of focused next on finishing off the cream and colour completing on that border. I think I'm gonna try and get these borders finished before I do any more of the actual letters. So there's about 7,000 stitches left, but it's really quick stitching, so it should come through quite quickly. The cream that I'm showing you now is really hard to see without any of the other colors, but essentially at the end it will look, those four, the bottom two will look like these two up here with the vases. So it will need a few more days put into it, but I'm hoping to have those borders done by the end of the month. The M was the biggest letter that I had left because it had 1900 stitches without any back stitching, and that's not breaking up any of the fractional stitches or anything like that. So it was the biggest I have left. The rest are around 1200 per letter, so they're not quite so bad. Probably around 1600 by the time you account for all of the back stitching. And I have one more piece, which is the Halloween Afghan by Stony Creek. So I was all ready to start this on the 1st of May. And then I realized that the 20 count fabric that I had ordered from Stony Creek online, from their website, was not the size it was supposed to be. I was measuring it up, ready to start and everything, and going, how does this add up? It doesn't. What have I done here? And I looked at all the measurements and went, yeah, that's not the 5 inches that it says on the pattern if you order this size fabric that you have as margins. So I sent them a message and they got back to me pretty quickly. It took a couple of days, but it was a Sunday here, which meant it was Saturday by the time you go back over to the US because of the time differences. So it was a couple of days before they got back to me, but they did, which I was really happy to see. And it seems like it was 1.25 yards is what they sent instead of 1.75 yards. All I know is it was about 10 inches shorter than it should have been in one direction. So they said they would send out another piece of fabric, and I'm sure they will. They have not as yet. But I decided in the intervening time period, because it was a few days, that I wasn't sure I really wanted to stitch it over 2 on 20 count fabric because it was going to make it a huge piece, and I wasn't convinced about using it as an actual afghan because I have a cat. You can imagine the cat hair that they would attract, and something like that I'd be pretty wary of washing in the washing machine or anything like that to try and catch some of that fur. So in the end, I decided that, much like the Mythical Creatures stitch along that I'm doing at the moment, I'm going to turn it into a wall hanging, and therefore I decided to put it on a 28 count and stitch it over 2. So it means that they should be reasonably similar size wise, I think, maybe. We'll see. And then I could swap it out on the wall when it came to Halloween. So I have done 1,007 stitches on this after I ordered some other fabric from Stitch NZ here, which was a 28 count in a grey whisper colour. So here you can see what I've done so far. I pretty much just worked on the border with the it makes me think of a checkerboard, but it's not. I'm not sure it's supposed to be, but, and then I did the 550 that's around each side. So I'm really happy with that. So far that is the border or the edges of the first page. So that will be the size once you kind of go down to, hang on. Once you go down to about probably here-ish, that will be where the first page goes to. So I really wanted to do some more on this, but it was almost too warm. Even now, we had like 1 or 2 pretty cold, miserable days where they were predicting snow, which didn't fall in the end. I was very grateful for that. At least it didn't fall here. It did fall elsewhere. So that was on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday, that it was all predicted for, and I was pretty grateful that we didn't get it. But all the same, we haven't actually had cool enough weather to have that amount of fabric sitting on me while I'm stitching, because it is still quite a large piece of fabric. I have not cut it to size as yet, and it probably won't get cut to size for quite some time until I get a lot further along. I know I do have more fabric than I actually need, so I figured I would just cut it once I got to those borders rather than risking any incorrect cutting and it not being the right size. The next thing I have to show you is stuff from the retreat. If you are only here for the stitching, thank you for watching, and I've got a few other things to show from the retreat and other things from last weekend. So, thank you for watching if you're headed off now, and I hope you have a good day. The Dunedin stitching retreat was last weekend, and that was Saturday and Sunday, and I really enjoyed it. Even as a bit of an introvert, it was pretty tiring, but it was a really good weekend. We got a little goodie bag, so I guess I will show you what's in it. The first thing we got was a couple of these magic transfer embroidery sheets. So they're for putting stitching onto fabric, kind of like what I guess waste fabric is, except it completely washes out. The next thing was the Dunedin the Retreat pattern. So I will show you a couple of finished pictures of that. They should be coming up now. There was a little bingo retreat bingo thingamajig with a few different things of if you completed a line or completed the whole lot and you were the first person to do so, you would get a prize. And there are some interesting ones. So there was quite a few all stitching related things like frogging, stitching at least 20 stitches at the retreat, getting chocolate on your stitching, brought at least 10 projects to work on at the retreat, fully finished a project at the retreat, threaded a needle on the first try, drew blood with a needle, finished a project at the retreat, managed to successfully unpick a knot, displayed an item on the project display table, and quite a few others, but those are some entertaining ones. And there was a list of the sponsors, a little bookmark from the Embroidery Guild, which was quite cool in New Zealand. So it's got their website on it and everything for anyone who might be interested. I don't know if this is backwards or if it's just me. We'll see. The next thing was a little 1 meter measuring tape, and it's got both inches and centimeters on it, and that has got Dunedin Stitching Retreat 2023 on it. And it's not a sticker. Interesting. Okay, and there was also a Whittaker's Peanut Slab chocolate that I may have already eaten. And a few Wonder Clips. So there was 4 of them and they're very handy. A thread spool thingamajig. I can't think of what they're called. They're really good, I find, for holding bobbins, which I use for park threads, so they'll be really handy. And 2 metallic DMC threads. They are pretty fine. It looks more like similar to a filament. Oh, hang on. Not sure if you'll be able to see. Here we go. Oh. So it's pretty fine. And I have to say, I love the little spools because they're the type that you pop up and it will hold it in place, so it doesn't get really unwound like some of those Krennics and things. You end up with a bit of a, well, not Krennic, but some of them you can end up with a bit of a collection of messy threads as well. So these were those little bags were collected. Mine's looking a little bit sad now after being packed away in my bag with all my other stitching stuff. So we got given those right as we walked in the door, and then there was also a mystery box giveaway, I guess you could call it, and that everyone if they wish to take part, could have a package, well, package up a little gift of up to $25 worth of stitching stuff and put it in a box, well, a mystery box, and then you got a little ticket, and then you could on the second day get another one in exchange for, essentially. So I did mine, and mine mostly had thread drops and a little bit of fabric and some DMC along with the chart that I created for Dunedin. So in exchange, I got this little thread wallet, which is really cool, and inside it there was a skein of 310, 3865 and Blanc. So all of those colors that you are really going to need at some point or another, which is really cool. And there was also a pack of DMC 26 needles and some really pretty wonder clips. They are sparkly ones, and a little scissor fob. So it has a little scissor charm at the end, which is really cool. And on the inside of this little wallet is really cool as well. So it's got some vinyl here, and then on this side it has got it's like a fleecy kind of thing that will catch your orts and things like that, but it's the same kind of fabric that people use in like needle books. So it was really cool to get, and I saw a lot of other really cool things that people seemed to get in exchange for their gifts. So overall I think it was quite successful. It was always a little bit of a worry of whether you got something that was going to be really handy or maybe not quite so handy, but this wallet was awesome and definitely something that will be able to be used. So also while I was at the retreat, I was selling some thread drops, and so here is a purple one and a white one, just what I had handy. And for anyone watching, thank you for the support, and I hope they do what you need them to do. I met a lot of amazing people and saw a lot of amazing projects and things like that, and I will be putting some pictures in at the end. And I've got a cat coming to visit. Come on. Are you coming? Or are you just gonna sit there and tease me? I think she's just gonna sit there and tease me. I guess I will just leave her to it. This week for work, I made a little bit of a trip out to what felt like the middle of nowhere. So it was 4.5 hour drive each way to Glenorchy, which for those who may not know, you go to Queenstown, drive through Queenstown, and then you drive about 40 minutes up through this absolutely beautiful scenery up around Lake Wakatipu up to quite a small little town, Glenorchy. Beautiful scenery, definitely worth the drive if you go there. It was pretty cold, but there was snow on the side of the roads around Queenstown, so it wasn't all that surprising. I was originally meant to stay the night in Queenstown before driving back on Friday morning. Instead, I looked at the weather when I drove back into Queenstown after I'd done the job I needed to do and decided, yeah, I would rather drive through the sleet than have delays in the morning actually being able to leave. So I drove back and it was a beautiful, peaceful drive. So if you ever headed that direction or down in the south, I would definitely recommend headed up to Glenorchy. It is absolutely spectacular. Not very many places to pull over and take photos, but it is amazing. She's definitely trying to tease me. Come here. Hi. Here we go. Hello. You gonna say hi? So here's Luna. She's being grumpy. Think she wants to go. I'm surprised I don't have a tail on screen. It must be, oh look, there we go. She definitely loves the waving it in the air. Anyway, I will put up some pictures of the finishers table and things from the retreat. Oh, and also I will put up an image of the one thing I got off the freebie table, which was a lavender and lace chart. And yeah, so I hope you all have a good week or probably 2 weeks, and I will see you next time. I hope the weather is nice and you find heaps of time to get the stitching done that you want to be doing rather than other things. Alright, thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day, and have a good Mother's Day to all of those in New Zealand and Australia, I believe. I'm not sure if it's any further afield than that, but I know it is here in Australia and New Zealand. It is Mother's Day today. So, happy Mother's Day to all those, and thank you for watching.